Hi guys, I'd like to talk about how to create objection handling for health offers using prospect psychology. Firstly, we can ask, what's going through the mind of the prospect when they're asked to make a financial commitment, essentially in the face of uncertainty? And then, how can we negotiate the often smokescreen type responses that occur when the prospect is trying to negotiate this inner emotional roller coaster at the end of the sales call or sales encounter? The first concept that I want you to consider is risk to reward. Think of risk to reward as a seesaw. If the result is guaranteed, which it never really is, but the prospect can be influenced heavily to think that it is, then the investment can be high as you want because the prospect sees it as like a dead cert to no longer having to live in pain or their health deteriorating anymore. So the less certain somebody is, the less they value it in the form of money, and less they're going to attribute its worth in terms of dollars. So this is why marketing is so important, is the more someone is exposed to an idea, the more it becomes real in their psyche, and the more that they believe that this is the solution for them. But let's face it, there are no guarantees to whether even the best medical interventions delivered by the most talented professionals will work. So where does that leave us? So regardless whether there is substantial know, like, and trust built into the prospect, there is likely on some level to be nagging doubts. So that's the status quo so far. Then, on top of this, we have the psychological phenomenon of the status quo bias, where one resists change as a bodily sensation as much as anything else, which is then interpreted by the intellect into further smokescreen objections. So we have value and the status quo bias, also known as fear. But then, here's the thing. The prospect doesn't even understand why they are saying these things, so conventional objection handling can be tricky. Then I'm going to go a little bit below the veil again here. On top of this, these nagging doubts can be exacerbated by having tried solutions in the past and having failed, and this generates apathy in the prospect, but also the phenomenon of their pride being diminished because they've been taken for a ride, so to speak, and not wanting this to reoccur. So there's quite a lot going on. And then if we consider a further consideration of how the prospect is having to invest a certain percentage of their net worth. Okay, now if the less of a prospect needs to invest in terms of their net worth, which is interpreted as their safety, they're going to be more inclined to part with the funds and take a chance on it, for want of a better phrase. So to summarize, there's a big mix of emotional phenomenon in the prospect's mind, and we can say that these break down into essentially three overlapping parts. Number one, I've been burnt before. Is this just another thing? How do I know this will work? Or does the prospect risk to reward ratio hold up to the value exchange being expected? So it's fair to say that we're dealing with an emotional maelstrom. So how do we deal with it? What I have found works is that we focus the objection handling on the core misconception in place, this being that there is guarantees in life, and essentially to call out this belief and to bring yourself alongside the prospect by letting them know that anyone that delivers guarantees, is just taking them for a ride and is essentially a hustler. Once we unsettle the subconscious narrative that they are operating from, this being that guarantees exist, we can use consequence pattern from the Dilt Sleight of Mouth model to reset their perspective that there's a binary choice. And this is to stay and get worse, or try and probably get better. Here is objection handling that uses metaphor and consequence, as mentioned above, which then uses a strategy to help the prospect select which unconscious concern they have of the three we mentioned, and then we can tailor our objection handling and reframe it correctly. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah. So the three things that are going through the prospect's mind then, I've tried so many things in the past, what happens if, and then they'll be thinking about like the value exchange, is it worth the money? And, it's the impossible, like, how do I know that it'll work, right? So in order for us to kind of really sort of go alongside them and reset the narrative, it's like we need to establish and help them understand that there's some level of uncertainty in their mind, and we need to kind of like be on the sit next to them as we talk about that. So to clarify, to help them understand, look, somewhere in your mind, there's not a problem, there's just a lack of certainty. If you had a lottery ticket, you'd be rushing to the store right now to claim it, wouldn't you? To delay, i.e., give a partner or a smoke screen injection or whatever they're doing right there, right now, if you don't want to go away and think about it, if you had the lottery ticket, you wouldn't leave it lying around. So there must be some level of uncertainty that this is the solution for you. So once we've drawn that parallel, that our solution, if it was certain, would be like the lotto ticket for them. Then what we do is we help them bucket. Well, is it a case of like you don't think we can help? You're just tired and apathetic about hopping from one thing to another, or like it's a money side of things. Yeah. So you've helped them. Is it money? Is it apathy? Or whether it's like a trust credibility thing. And then if they say like it's I'm just apathetic, I'm tired of hopping around for things, then what we can do then is, we can go along the table and say, like, I wish there was a guarantee that everything that I can get 100% guarantee this is going to work for you. Okay, so like instead of you just making false promises, you're actually being real with them. And say like if somebody's promised you stuff in the past, it's probably made you disillusioned, and that's kind of maybe what's happening here in this call. But I wouldn't ask you to move forward if I didn't think it was the right move. And when I've had to make tough decisions, my partner, mentor, whatever, has said, look, fall down 7, get up 8. We've really only got one choice. We either let the past drag us down, or we really sort of pick ourselves up and keep going. Where do you want to go? So again, we help them redefine. There's really a binary option, right? The next one, if they categorize, it's the money, then we set the stage. Nothing good is cheap, and cheap isn't good. And it's going to cost you money anyway now. You either pay now and get it sorted, or you pay exponentially down the line and your health gets worse at the same time. So you invest now and we work and get your health back on track, or you invest more down the line and try and salvage your health. Like, which one of those do you want? So what we do then is like, it's not about whether you want to spend money. It's like you have to spend money. And you spend money now and get your life back, or you spend money just trying to put some shell of your life back further down the road once your health gets worse. And if they say, how do I know it'll work? Well, what you do is look, I'm not going to drill you. I'm not going to try and wow you with science, because that's not the point. The point is you're looking for guarantees. And nothing is guaranteed. So we're just being real with them. And at some stage you have to have faith. Okay, because I wouldn't have presented this to you if I didn't think it could work for you. And this is a kind of clincher. Like, I've done what I can to show you that we're on your side and this is the right move. But you need to ask yourself, can I park my need for guarantees in a world where there are none, so that I can take action to heal, or am I going to remain stuck and look for guaranteed solution, which is never going to arrive, and then allow my health to get worse as I do so, as I look for this magic bullet? So like, what we do there is we don't make it about the sale anymore. We make it about their decision making is flawed, looking for guaranteed outcomes. And then they're kind of like, well, yeah, you are right. So once you've got those guys, and don't forget you can overlap them, like, you're in great territory. And also you can say, if this is just a fear thing, I know you've got an amorphous, like, load of emotions going right now, and that's perfectly natural, taking a step into the unknown. But the people who do well in this program, they're able to step through it. Those people who can't step through that feeling of fear, they're the ones that get trapped, and they let their condition get worse and worse. So are you going to be like the guys that succeed on this and actually step through? Or are you going to be the guys that just kind of like crawl back into their shell and let their health deteriorate even further? It's literally a binary choice for you, which one you're going to do. All right, guys, hope this helped.